Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Mull for Thursday, the 14th of December. With McShane, we're working our way through the book of Chronicles, and yesterday we read about King Asa of Judah, who was a good king, and he listened to God, and some Cushites came to attack him, and relying on God, they routed the Cushites, and he was able to establish his kingdom. And he not only did that, but he restored the temple worship. He got rid of the people that were involved in idolatry, and even deposed the queen mother because she'd been involved with the worship of Asherah. So a good king. But as we continue reading today, reading chapter 16, we're told that Baasha, the king of Israel, came up and started complicating their lives and threatening them. And so Asa, we read in verse 2, Asa took the silver and gold out of the treasuries of the Lord's temple and out of his own palace, and sent it to Ben-Hadad, king of Aram, who was ruling in Damascus. And he said, "Let there be a treaty between me and you, as there was between my father and your father." And so Ben-Hadad agrees to this, goes and attacks Israel, and Israel withdraws. So he achieves what he was wanting to do, but he hadn't sought God's will. He wasn't relying on God. And therefore God sends a prophet to him. And the prophet Hanani comes and says, "Because you relied on the king of Aram and not on the Lord your God, the army of the king of Aram escaped." And he points him back and said, "Look at what happened when you did rely on God, how you're given the victory." And he says to him, "But because you have done a foolish thing by not trusting in God, from now on you will be at war." And that turned out to be the case. And we read that later on, toward the end of his life, he had something happen with his legs. He got an infection in his feet. And even then, he didn't call on God. He trusted in doctors. And he died, in a sense, alienated from God. And as I read that, I thought, here was somebody that started off so well, and it was so full of promise, and ended up so, not badly, but just didn't deliver. And sometimes we find people like that, and I'm aware of people in the church that have come to faith, got involved, and they have been involved in everything. If anything was going on at church, they were there, they were giving, and everybody thinks, "Oh, what a wonderful Christian." And it continues like that for a couple of years, but you then meet that person 15 years down the line and find that they hardly ever go to church, and their faith has withered completely. They still call themselves a Christian, but it's certainly not evident in their life. And I was thinking our prayer always has to be, "God, keep us faithful for the long haul. Help me to keep the fire and passion of my love and relationship with you, to keep that going. Help me to remain in you." And we trust, because God calls us to faith in the first place. We say, "God, hold us in faith, keep us in faith, so that we do not wilt over time, that we begin well, we run the course, and we end well." So be challenged by that, and pray that God will do that in your life and in the lives of the people around about you. Be blessed.